Okay, we're starting with chapter 13 today. Chapter 13, we are going to figure out coterminal angles. Now for this question, coterminal, I want to know between 0 and 360 and from 0 to negative 360. So they're asking you for two answers here. So if negative 545 is your angle, we want to add 360 to this. If you add 360 to negative 545, you get negative 185. So that is one answer. That's between 0 and negative 360. Now if you add another 360, you get 175. And that's between 0 and 360. So these are your two answers. For number 2, 862, if you subtract 360, you get 502. That's still too big. It's still not between 0 and 360, so you have to subtract another 360. You get 142. That's one answer. And then subtract another 360, and you get negative 218. So those are your two answers. How do you draw a negative angle? You're starting in standard position and you're going to go backwards. From here to here is 180. So negative 175 would look like this. And your arrow would look like that. So this would be negative 175 degrees. Now for radians, we're 7 pi over 6. 7 pi over 6 is in quadrant 3. This is 7 pi over 6. How do you convert an angle that's in degrees to radians? 144 degrees. You're going to multiply this by pi over 180 degrees. You want these to cancel. Now, you know you guys can do this on a calculator if you want to simplify it. What's 144 divided by 180? I'll show you how to do it on this one. 144 divided by 180. You're going to get a decimal and then hit math, fraction, and that's 4/5. So it's 4/5 pi. So 4 pi over 5 is the converted answer. Now how do you convert it if it's in radians? 21 over 6 pi. You're going to multiply this by 180 over pi. These are going to cancel. 6 goes into 180 30 times, and 30 times 21 is 630. So 630 degrees is the answer. Skip 6 and 8. This next set, I'm going to do these, show you how to take your unit circle and turn it into, let's do degrees first. Degrees, 240. So we have 0, 90, 180, 270, and 360. How do you break this up even more? These are 45s. 45, if you added 45, you get 135. Add 45, add 45, add 45, add 45. Then let's do the 30s. We have 30, 60, 90, 120, 150, add 30, 210, add 30, add 30, you get 270, add 30, you get 300, add 30, you get 330. So, now remember, this is your y-axis right here, and this is your x-axis. So if I ask you, what is the sign of negative 240? Well, some of you guys like to convert it, which that's good too. Sine of negative 240. I don't like to go backwards. I want to find a coterminal angle. So what is 360 minus 240? You get 120. So 120 degrees from here to here, 120 degrees, that is the angle that we're trying to find the sine ratio of. So from here to here, this is 120. So what you're going to do is you're going to make a triangle with the x-axis, this triangle right here. So this is 30, so this is a 60-degree angle. And you've got to know in quadrant 2 the ratios. So remember, this is root 3, this is 2, and this is negative 1. So the sine of negative 240 is opposite over hypotenuse, so it's root 3, square root of 3 over 2. So that would be square root of 3 over 2. Let's do all the degree ones first. Let's do C. C says, this is A. C is asking you for the tangent of negative 90. Well, where's negative 90 degrees? It's right here. Here's negative 90 from here to here. So for this one, you're landing right on an axis, which this ordered pair is 0, negative 1. Well, tangent is y over x. And the y value here is negative 1 and the x value is 0. What's negative 1 over 0?
Undefined.
Undefined. Now, if you want to do this one on a calculator, make sure your calculator is in degree mode. You were not allowed to use your calculator when you did these on your test the first time, but check out your mode. See, right now my calculator's in radian mode. So if I wanted to type this one in my calculator, I definitely have to change my calculator first. And now I can hit tangent of negative 90, and guess what? I'm going to get that error message because it's undefined. Okay? How about cotangent of 690? Well, 690, what I would do is find a coterminal angle. I'm going to subtract 360. You're going to get 330. So where is a 330-degree angle?
In the fourth quadrant.
It's in the fourth quadrant. So it's this triangle right here. From here to here is 330. So this is a 30-degree angle. Look at this one that I darkened here. So this side is going to be negative 1. This is going to be root 3 and 2. Cotangent, it's the reciprocal of tangent. Tangent is opposite over adjacent, so it's going to be adjacent over opposite. So it's root 3 over negative 1. So this answer is root 3 over negative 1. And if you flip to the other one, there's one more angle in degree mode. It says cosine of negative 405 for G, 10G. Cosine of negative 405. I would add 360, and you're going to get negative 45 degrees. Well, we know where negative 45 is. It's this angle right here. It's this going backwards 45, 315. So, this is what I have. I'm going to do a clean graph here. It's a 45. This is negative 1, 1, and root 2. So the cosine of negative 405 is the same as the cosine of negative 45, because they're coterminal. That's negative 45. Why did I name this side negative 1? Because in quadrant 4, the y values are negative, the x values are positive. Cosine is defined as adjacent over hypotenuse, or x over r. So the x value is 1, and the radius, or the hypotenuse, is root 2. And you can rationalize root 2 over 2 if you need to. Okay, now the rest of those are in radian modes. Let's take a second and look at radians. Let's take our circle and do There we go. So 0, pi over 2, pi, 3 pi over 2, and 2 pi. Now, let's cut this into 4 parts. So this is 1/4. We have 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4, 5/4, 6/4, which reduces to 3/2, 7/4, and that's 8/4. Then let's do the thirds, or the 6. Pi over 6, 2 pi over 6, or pi over 3, 3 pi over 6, or pi over 2, so we have 1/6, 2/6, 3/6, we have 4/6, we have 5/6, 6/6, 7/6, 8/6, 9/6, 10/6, 11/6, and 12/6. Now the ones you can reduce this one, 4 pi over 3. This is 5 pi over 3. And 2/3. I think I reduced the rest. Okay, so now, go back to that 13/2. They want to know what the secant of 5 pi over 3 is. Secant. Where is 5 pi over 3? 5 pi over 3 is right here. So it's this angle right here. 5 pi over 3. I'm going to use my blue marker. 5 pi over 3 is here. So from here to here is 5 pi over 3. So I'm going to use this angle. Well, if this is a 60-degree angle right here. I'm going to use this angle right here. This is going to be -√3, 2, and 1. So the question is, again, what is the secant of 5 pi over 3? Well, secant is the reciprocal of cosine. And cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. So this is going to be 2 over 1. If it was cosine, it'd be 1 over 2. Okay. What about cosine of 2 pi? Where's 2 pi at? Right here. This ordered pair is 1, 0. And cosine is defined as x over r. What's the x value? 1. 1 over 1 is 1. Now, how can you do that one on your calculator? Make sure your calculator is in radian mode on this one. So if you flip your calculator to change the mode to radian, then type in cosine of 2 pi, you should get 1.
How do you do that? How do you change it to radian?
Well, on that calculator, you have to go to settings, and then you have to convert, make it default. I would have 2 calculators in front of me, and I would keep one in radian, one in degree, if you're not sure. This calculator is actually it's easier to convert from radians to degree. That one's tricky. Sometimes you convert it, and you think you've converted it, and you don't. You've got to be careful when you go to settings. When you go to settings right here. See, I'm in degree. So you have to convert it to radian. And sometimes it's very, and there we go. Enter, radian. And then you want to make it default. That's how you have to change it. Otherwise, it's not going to change.
Okay.
So you could change it to radian, and if you didn't make it default, it's going to go back to degree.
Okay.
For these two, these are also in radians. Where's 7 pi over 6? Well, here's 7 pi over 6. So 7 pi over 6 is in quadrant 3. So let's draw it. 7 pi over 6 is this angle right here. So this is pi over 6, which is a 30 degree. So you have to convert, so 7 pi over 6, this is 30 degrees right here. So this is gonna be -1, this is gonna be -√3, and this is 2. So the sine of 7 pi over 6, it's the side opposite over the hypotenuse. And then cosecant, the other one is 4 pi over 3. Cosecant 4 pi over 3. Well, where's 4 pi over 3? There's 4 pi over 3. So this is a 60-degree angle, so this is going to be -√3, -1, and 2. So cosecant is the flipped, it's the flipped fraction of sine. So instead of opposite over hypotenuse, it's going to be hypotenuse over opposite. So 2 over -√3. Okay. The next ones, when we did these, I used a T here, or an X. Okay, so that's your variable right there. So if you saw, oops, that's not good. If you saw that, and so instead of putting that, they're going to put f of t. Remember these? You remember the pattern for cosine? This is going to start 3 above. And you're going to go 2, this is your new x-axis here, at 3 units above. It's a vertical shift of 3 above. And you're going to go 2 above here, your amplitude is 2. It's above, on, below, on, above. Do you remember this? What if this were a -2? What would it look like? It would start here and go on, above, on, below. What if this were a sine? What if it said f of t equals 2 sine of t plus 3? What would you do there? You're going to go 3 units up, 1, 2, 3. And from here your amplitude is 2, up 2, down 2. It's like this. Remember these? Okay. What if this were a -2? What would I do? Start here and go down 2. I'd go below, on, above, on. It'd be backwards. So this number right here, if it were negative, if I asked you what's the amplitude, what would you say? 2. It's not -2. Amplitude is a positive number. It's how high that is off the x-axis. Where is your x-axis? It's right here. It's 3 up. Now, when this number is a 1 here, in front of your variable, or in front of whatever letter you see here, whatever is shown here, if you don't see a number in front, it's a 1. And for sine and cosine, since that's all we did in this class, next year you're going to do tangent, cosecant, secant, you're going to go more into detail. The period is 2 pi, unless this number changes. And we talked about that. Check out this one. We didn't do phase shifts. We did period changes. This one has a 5 as a b value. So what is the amplitude? It's 1/2. And your period, you take 2 pi and you divide it by that b value, which is 5. So the period is 2/5. And we went further into this. We divided this into 4 increments. We did the increments part too. You guys remember how to do this? 2 pi over 5, you're going to multiply this by 1/4, and you get pi over 10. So this one you would count by tenths. 1/10, 2/10, 3/10, 4/10. and 4/10 is same as 2/5. For these ones, again, I am not gonna give you, a phase shift, so I cross that out. I am gonna give you period changes or different amplitude changes and vertical shifts. So for this one, if you took out that phase shift, you're gonna do phase shifts next year. This is the sine curve, 3 units down. So you're gonna go 3 units down, and it's upside down, amplitude is 2. So you'd start here, you go 2 down. So it's on, below, on, above, on. The maximum value is 1, -1, and the minimum is 3, -5. And don't worry about the backside. So the graphs are okay. I just want to review now the last 2 things that we did, that we didn't have a chance to go over yet, is the test on probabilities. Okay, so if you have this, I would take this out. All right, number 1, this is the quiz on 11-1 to 11-3. What's the probability? If you have M&Ms, you've got 7 green, 4 red, 5 blue, and 8 yellow. How many M&Ms total do you have? You have 24. Well, if I want to know what's the probability of selecting a red one, how many red are there? There's 4. 4 out of 24, you need to convert it to a reduced fraction or as a decimal, 16.7%. Same type of problem. You've got students, you've got 16 students from L'Anse Creuse North, 10 students from L'Anse Creuse High School, and 9 from Dakota. That gives us 35 students. What is the probability that the student selected is from L'Anse Creuse North? Well, there's 16 from North. 16 over 35 is 45.7%. Number 3, a car has 12 choices. We can, colors. 12 colors, 5 interior designs, and 3 different tire packages, and 3 different engines. How many different cars can be produced? Well, it's 12 times 5 times 3 times 3, which is 540. How many combinations can you come up with? If you have a letter followed by 3 digits, and you can repeat. So there's 26 letters of the alphabet times 10 numbers times 10 numbers times 10 numbers. So it's 26,000. For B, how many combinations can you come up with 2 letters? And the letters are only vowels, A, E, I, O, and U, not Y. So there's 5 letters and followed by 3 digits, and the digits are only even, so there's 5 even digits. So 5 times 5 times 5 times 5 times 5 is 3,125. Number 5, what is the probability, this is a geometric probability, that a point is chosen in the shaded region? Well, you've got to find the area of the shaded region over the area of the whole thing, the circle, and the radius it's 10. So if this rectangle measures 3 by 3, it's actually a square. You've got 3 by 3, which is 9, you've got 2 of them, so that's 18. Over the area of the circle, it's pi r squared. Pi times 10 squared, which is 314. So you should have 5.7 as your probability percent, because it says, what is the probability in the nearest tenth of a percent? It's underlined. These ones, since the test is multiple choice, make sure you know how to use the Inspire. Do you guys remember how to do this? You're going to go to menu. I'm going to delete all this. Go to menu, and you go to probability. And if you want a permutation, there you go. And just put commas in. 12, 5. You guys did very well on these factorial ones. 14 factorial is 14 times 13 times, keep going. 4 factorial is 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, 9 factorial. 9 times 8 times 7 times 6 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. You can cancel, or you can use your calculator to find the answer. It's 10,010. For number 8, you have a combination key. That should be easy. And number 9 is a simple, use your calculator. 0 factorial is 1. Number 10. How many ways can 4 people be chosen? This is a combination problem. Order does not matter. We're going to choose 4 people out of 10. So it's 10C4. Order does not matter. It's 210. But for the next one, order does matter because we're going to specifically choose a captain, a co-captain, and a team manager. So out of 10 people, we're selecting 3. So this is a permutation, 10P3, and that would be 720. Number 12, President Obama, and he's got 5 other leaders that are going to be sitting at a table. How many ways can you seat those 6 people? This is 6 factorial. 720. Number 13, you've got 8 trophies that you want to display. And out of 15, and order does not matter. You're just putting these trophies in any way. You're taking 8 of them. So this is a combination. Order does not matter. It's 15C8. And the answer is 6,435. Number 14 is also a combination. Order does not matter. You've got 20 people and you're selecting a jury of 8. So it's 20C8. Order does not matter. And that was a very large number, 125,970. There's 7 singers left in American Idol. How many ways can they perform? That would be 7 factorial, 5,040. Now these ones are asking you what's the probability of this or that. So these ones you add. Now, what you're going to do is figure out first of all if it's mutually exclusive. In other words, even though it's asking you what's the probability of picking a number that's a multiple of 2 or odd, I'm not asking you to do both, but to know which formula to use, if it's mutually exclusive, you add the 2 up. If it's inclusive, you add the 2 up and you subtract the one that's both of them. So if it's possible for you to pick a card that is a multiple of 2 and odd, is that possible? That you would pick a card that happens to be a multiple of 2 and odd at the same time? No. Odd numbers are 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. They're not multiples of 2. So this one is, there's no way you can do these both simultaneously. You can't pick a card that's a multiple of 2 and odd. So the formula you use is the mutually exclusive one, which is the sum of the 2. So you do the probability of all the cards that are multiples of 2 plus the probability of all the odd cards. So there's 5 cards out of 10 that are multiples of 2, and there's 5 that are odd. So 5 plus 5 is 10. 10 over 10 is 1. So this is a 1. Whereas this one is inclusive because you can pick a card that is greater than 2 and happens to be a multiple of 4. So you figure out the cards that are multiples of 2, there's 8 of them. I'm sorry, greater than 2, there's 8 of them. The ones that are multiples of 2 there's 2 cards, 4 and 8. And which ones are both greater than 2 and multiples of 4? There's 2 cards. So this is 8 over, you have to subtract that one. 8 over 10, which is 4/5. 17, I want the probability of doing this and that, so you're gonna multiply. Now, these two events are independent because you're replacing the card. It says, a red number cube and a green number cube are rolled. Find the probability that the red cube is less than 5. So how many numbers are less than 5? There's 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the green one is greater than or equal to 4. There's 3. 3 over 6, so you multiply, it's 12 over 36, which is 1/3. Number 18. This is an or problem. So you gotta figure out, is it mutually exclusive or inclusive? So in other words, can you are any of these numbers less than 4 and not red? Yes, there are some. So there's some that are both. So you have to use the formula that you add and then subtract the one that's both. So 3/8 are the numbers that are less than 4. The ones that are not red are 5, and the ones that are both of these two are 2. So it's 8 minus 2, which is 6, 6/8, which is 3/4. This one is an and one. What's the probability of something and something? These are independent events. You've got marbles. There's a total of 20 marbles. 13 are red and 7 are blue. You are going to pick, this is an experiment. You're going to take a marble. What's the probability that you're going to select a blue marble and then you're going to select a red marble? And you are going to you are replacing that marble. So how many are blue? There's 7 out of 20. And then times, you're putting that marble back, so there's still 20 left. There's 13 red out of 20, so you multiply across 91 over 400. Whereas this last one, you are picking a ribbon, but you're not replacing it. So these are dependent. You're starting off with 15 ribbon, but if you pick a ribbon and you don't replace it, you only have 14 left. So they want to know what's the probability that she's going to select a black and then a gold. Well, there's 9 out of 15, and then there's 6 out of 14. There's one less ribbon left. So the answer is 9/35. You have to reduce your fraction. Does anyone have any questions? And then the last test we took
What's the best test?
was the best test for you guys. Believe it or not, your hardest test actually was your best score, which that's good. Which one?
The compound fraction one.
Oh, yes, yes. Okay, last test, and we're done. I'm gonna go quick over this. Does anyone have any questions on how to find mean, median, and mode? Mean is the average. Median is the middle number. Make sure your numbers are organized, least to greatest. Your mode is the most often. What if there's two modes? It's bimodal. Good. And what's the range? The difference of the highest and the lowest. 11. Okay. How do you do standard deviation and variance? Well, first you find variance. Variance is you take your data, you're going to subtract from each of these data your average. The difference gets squared, added together, divide by the number of terms you have, that's your variance. You take the square root of that, that's your standard deviation. Again, mean, median, and mode, 13.3 and 13. This one was organized for you. So I didn't want to test you on messing up, you know, if you messed up the order. So it was already organized. That's your highest and your lowest number. The difference of these two is your range, 24. Now the middle number, right smack in the middle, is 34. That's your Q2. So if you use this, I'll use it again. So 28 is gonna be the median, you're gonna figure out the lower half. Now, you have an odd number, so it's 28. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, so 28 is the middle number. And the middle number here is gonna be 37. The difference of these two is your IQR interquartile range, 9. Now, how do you make a box and whisker? You take your lowest. So let's say you started with 25. Did you guys go by 5s? 30, 35, 40, 45, and 50. So you could have went by 5. Some people went by 3s, but 25 is your lowest. 49 is your highest. Your median is 34. Your first quartile is 28 and 37. So this is what the box should look like. Just like that. Number 8. If something has an average of 72, 2 standard deviations. This is 1 above and 1 and 2 above. So it's gonna go up to 88, and 2 below is gonna be 56. If I said 1 standard deviation, it'd be 64 to 80.
Yeah.
Huh? A lot of people messed that up. They only did 1 standard deviation. Number 9, that's an outlier, 97. Why is it an outlier? Because it's
Totally different from the
substantially
rest.
lower than the lowest number. If it's substantially lower or higher, it's an outlier. Okay, number 10. Actually, this is 9. This is, actually, no, it is, this should be 10. 10. This one, how do you find the average? You add these up and divide by 12, 80.9. Now, the variance and standard deviation, you have to fill this chart out. You take your number, your data, you're gonna subtract, I told you guys you could use the average in the nearest whole number. So some of you used 80.9, so you could have used 81 here, which is fine. So you take the difference of these, square it, add them up, divide by how many terms you have, which is 12. So your variance is 115.8. Take the square root of that, that's your standard deviation, 10.8. Percentile. If I want the 50th percentile, 50% of, you have 12 numbers here, is 6. The 6th spot from the, you have to organize them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These are these numbers organized least to greatest. So the 6th spot is 79. In the 75th percentile, 75% of 12 is 9. So you're gonna go 9 in, and you get 88. Now, how do you make a line plot? You take your numbers from least to greatest, 60 to 97. So we can do 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, 85, 90, 95, and 100. So, by each of these numbers, you're gonna put an X. So 60, put an X. 64, put an X. 76, 77, 78, 79, 82, 84, 88, 92, I'm doing this quick, 94, and 97. Okay, that's your line plot. Now, where is your mean? Your mean is right here. This is what you should have done. This is your mean. And now, what is 1 standard deviation? It's about 10.8. So if you use your calculator. okay? If you take 80.9 and you add one standard deviation, 10.8, you get about 91.7. So this is one standard deviation above, and then add another 10.8, you get 102. And this is two standard deviations above, I'm sorry. Now you're gonna go the other way. Go to 80.9, and you're gonna subtract 10.8. And you get 70.1. This is one standard deviation below, and then subtract another 10.8, and you get 59. So this is one standard deviation below the mean. This is two standard deviations below the mean. And within, how many standard deviations from the mean? From within, how many? Two. Done. Questions, anyone? Brett?